Hello, book friends. Let us all grab ourselves a cuppa of something warm and let us talk about all of the books I am planning to slow read over the course of 2026. Hello, I'm Jen, and welcome back to my reading life. I am here today to talk about the books that I am going to be taking my time with this year. I am going to be reading them seasonally or monthly throughout the course of 2026. There is no time frame. There is no, I need to finish this by a certain date. And that's kind of a nice feeling. I feel like sometimes in the bookish community, there is a pressure to read books in a certain period of time, to finish things by the end of the month. And I certainly fall into that as well sometimes, feeling this need to finish something by a certain date, or so I can squeeze it into a wrap-up video. But it can always wait till the next one, can't it? And unless I'm reading something specific for book club or a buddy read or group read, then really I just want to read things in the time I want to read them. And while I am a very fast reader in general, I have always, for at least the past couple of decades, I have almost always every year had a book on the go that I've just been kind of slow reading my way through, whether it was a book of poetry, something nonfiction, essays, whatever it might be, and whether I finished it in 1 year or it took me longer, that was just fine. I just sat it on my bedside table and it was always there whenever I was in the mood to pick it up, or if I needed a palate cleanser between books, or just had a few minutes to sit down, and that would be the perfect thing to pick up at that moment. I think it's always lovely to have books like that at hand for those times when you're not sure what to read, or you're just in the mood for something very short and light. And because I also like to read seasonally, many of these books have a seasonal aspect to them, whether that is that they are broken down by the months of the year or the seasons of the year. And I just really enjoy reading that way. And these books are a wonderful way for me to ensure that I'm always having some sort of seasonal read on the go at any time. But let us actually get into the books that I have picked for this year that are going to be my year-long reads, slow reads. Maybe some of them will take me longer than this year. Some of them are already carryovers from last year, and that's okay because I'm enjoying them and they'll always be at hand whenever I want to pick them up. Let's dive in. I have a big basket sitting here next to me. These are all of the books that I'm going to be slow reading throughout the year. And I'll be keeping this basket probably between my bedroom, next to my nightstand, or here in my reading room next to my chaise lounge, so that these books are easily at hand whenever I'm in the mood to pick one up. I'm going to start off with 3 books that I'm actually carrying over from 2025. And first is a collection of essays, and that is Bookworms. These are Great Writers and Readers Celebrate Reading, edited by Laura Furman and Eleanor Standard. And I started this last year, I can't even remember when, and I'm over halfway finished with it. And very much just enjoying the different essays, just as with every essay collection. Some essays speak to me more than others do, but all of these are about reading and readers and authors' experiences with reading and writing and books and the bookish life in general. So what's not to love about that? I've marked a few different passages in here. I'm just going to read you really quick this quote from Anthony Trollope's autobiography. It says, "That I can read and be happy while I am reading is a great blessing. Could I have remembered, as some men do, what I read, I should have been able to call myself an educated man. But that power I have never possessed. Something is always left, something dim and inaccurate, but still something sufficient to preserve the taste for more. I am inclined to think that it is so with most readers." I feel very seen in that quote right there because I struggle to remember specific details about books that I read. I'm getting a little better at it for this channel, though I often have to look back into the book or look at my notes on it or read my review that I wrote either in my journal or in Goodreads to refresh my memory. And even then, sometimes I can't remember specifics anyway, but I will always have an overall general impression of what I've read and how I felt about it. But I feel good knowing that Anthony Trollope feels the same way as well. And the next book that I'm carrying over from last year is another collection of essays, this by a single author, and that is Upstream by Mary Oliver. And this one I'm not as far in. I've only read the first couple of essays in here, so I still have a ways to go, though. It's a fairly slim volume. I love Mary Oliver's writing. I love her poetry. I read Devotions in 2024, which is a collection of quite a few of her poems, and it was one of my favorite books of 2024 and quite possibly one of my favorite poetry collections of all time. It is wonderful. She is wonderful. So I'm very much enjoying these essays. I kind of just got away from them for no particular reason, and holding this in my hand now, I just want to get back to them. I love Mary Oliver's just reflections on life, and her way of seeing the world is just, it speaks to me. And then my third and final, well, actually, I have one book that I started right at the tail end of 2025, but we'll count that mostly for 2026. But this one I did start in the autumn, and that is the Country Commonplace book by Miranda Mills. I love this. It's so beautiful. And I read the autumn section in autumn, of course, and I am in the middle of reading the winter section now, and then I will move on to spring and summer and finish it in the autumn of this year. This is just such a lovely collection of quotations, and I love that she also includes like lists of some of her favorite things. In the fall section, she has books to read as the mist thickens. I love that. That is so lovely. There's also some recipes included, and she has a list here of books for the country cook. Love that. So yes, it's just such a lovely, lovely book to have and, you know, just kind of dip in and out of throughout the seasons. So yes, very much enjoying this and looking forward to continuing it in 2026. And then next up is the book that I mentioned I started right at the tail end of 2025. And I found this book because I was actually looking at this author's fiction work because I've only read her nonfiction. And then I ended up getting 2 more of her nonfiction books because they sounded so cozy and lovely. And I've already started one of them, and it is exactly that. And that is Through the Kitchen Window by Susan Hill. And I have talked about Susan Hill's memoirs about her reading life. I loved Howard's End is on the Landing. It's one of my favorite books about books. And then she has her second one is something about Jacob's Ladder. I'm blanking on it at the moment, but and so many of you have said you enjoy her mysteries, sort of gothic mysteries that she writes, and I still do want to read those, but I just got so drawn in. Look at that. Let me show you the illustrations. It's illustrated by Angela Barrett. I don't know Angela Barrett, but this is just, it's such a beautiful, beautiful book. Look at this. Picnics. So this, again, it goes through each of the seasons, and it starts us in winter. And so I have actually read the entire winter section, and now I'm on to spring. So I have to kind of hold off for that. It's very, very short, and it just has different little kind of anecdotes and recipes and all kinds of lovely thoughts about the season, along with these just beautiful illustrations. I love this full page spread of this. Look at that little orange cat right there. So, so lovely. So yes, I bought this one, and I think the other book is called The Magic Apple Tree. I will have links to both of them in the description box so that you can go check them out. I found them on Thrift Books. I don't know that they're currently in print. I will have to look into that for you guys. But again, you can always look in the description box. I'll have that information for you. But so thrilled to have this, and I think this is just going to be lovely to read through this year in each of the seasons. This and the Country Commonplace book. Got all the seasonal reading nailed down for 2026. Let's have a little tea break, shall we? Next up is a book that is just light and fun, and it is broken up into a chapter for every month. And oh, actually, you know what? This one started in December also. It goes from December to December, which is kind of fun, especially because it looks like a very festive book. And that is Jolly Festive Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. And I initially, when I purchased this, I thought it was just like seasonal Christmas type stories, but no, it goes throughout the entire year. So even though it looks very Christmassy, it does have 2 December stories that are sort of related to the holidays, but then each chapter has, or each story is for a month of the year. So you can see here it starts in December and goes through the months of the year, and then ends again in December. And so that is my plan. So I have read the December and January stories, and I'm just waiting for the 1st of February so that I can pick this up and read the February story. But who couldn't use a little Wodehouse in their life? Some Jeeves, some Worcester, some Blandings Castle, some standalone stories. I am here for all the Wodehouse humor this year. So very excited to have this book and to be reading it throughout the rest of this year. Gladys Taber has become one of my favorite seasonal authors. Last year, I read Stillmeadow Calendar. As you know, I talked about it in my 2025 reading wrap-up. It was so wonderful to read a chapter from that every month of the year last year, so I wanted to do the same this year. And this year, I am reading, you can't tell what it is. This is The Stillmeadow Road by Gladys Taber. It is another one of her books that is broken up by the months of the year. So every chapter is a month of the year. And I'm buddy reading this with my lovely friend Melissa from A Duchess Inside. And yes, we're just reading each chapter each month, and then, you know, we'll chat about what speaks to us or calls to us from those chapters. But yes, actually, I do need to still have a few pages left to go in the January chapter. So I need to get that finished. Yes, just really, oh gosh, I only have like 3 pages left, so I really should read those and get that finished. But I love Gladys Taber. If you can get your hands on her books, they are hard to come by, and I feel like they're getting harder and harder, but it's well worth it if you can find her. Maybe your library might have a book or 2 of hers, but she's wonderful. And then next up, and the only reason this book is in this pile right now is because I didn't finish this. I started it again, another one I started in 2025. I should have looked at these books more closely before I made those statements at the beginning of the video. As I have talked about before, I like to read a James Herriot book between Christmas and New Year. I completed my reread of the All Creatures Great and Small series last year, and so this year I picked up The Wonderful World of James Herriot, and I got about halfway through, but I think just with being sick and just all that was going on in December, I kind of got away from it. And then January started, and of course I've been focused on both Jane Austen and Epistolary January. So I just kind of set this aside knowing I would come back to it. And I'm thinking, you know, either I'll just pick it back up again, maybe in the spring when I, you know, have less commitments, reading commitments going on. Or maybe I'll save it and read it at the end of December this coming year. So we'll see what happens, but I've just got this sitting here as a reminder that I am in the middle of this. And what's fun about this is it is the stories from James Herriot's books interspersed with sort of a nonfiction explanation of his life and what was going on with him at different moments in time, and kind of the behind the scenes of some of the stories from the books. So that's really fun to read. So a little bit different than just reading one of his books per se, but I'm very much enjoying getting a behind the scenes look at his life. And yes, so I'll be getting back to this at some point this year. And then my final slow read for 2026 is The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady by Edith Holden. I just love this book. I have known about this book for a while, but was finally really tempted to pick it up after Rebecca from Rebecca's Literary Wanderings, my friend and Cozy Reader Book Club co-host, had a video, it's a while back now, and she talked about this book a lot and kind of showed, you know, flipped through it a little bit. And I thought, oh, I really, really want to read this. And it is again broken up by the months of the year. It's basically her kind of illustrated diary throughout the year. And it's so beautiful. If you can find yourself, this edition of it isn't available anymore, but there is an edition that is available. I will link that down below in the description box for you. But I'm very much looking forward to this. Actually, I need to read the January pages still, and they're very, very short each month. There aren't a lot of pages, and because it's illustrated, you know, oftentimes, you know, there's a big illustration on one of the pages that takes up part of the month. So this just seems so wonderful, seasonal, very nature oriented, and I'm very much wanting to slow down and, you know, sort of reconnect with the world this year, and the world being the earth, I mean, and just kind of embrace that side of life. So, and I think this book will go along just perfectly with that intention. I know that is quite a few slow reads, but each of them really only takes a few minutes to read the pages from each month. And it's just lovely to have these books ongoing and to look forward to them every month or every season, depending on how they're broken down, or just, you know, kind of getting back to them when I'm in the mood for them. So yes, I am going to keep this trusty basket nearby. Again, thank you to Rebecca once again for the inspiration to get a basket and keep all these books in it. She uses her basket to like take her books out because she reads in nature a lot. I don't do that as much. Just where I live, it's not as feasible to do that. But I do like to read in my backyard. That is lovely when the weather is nice. But I like this basket because one, we have a 2-story house, and so I can move books from upstairs to downstairs more easily and just from room to room. And I always know then where they are and hopefully where I have most recently left them. I think a basket of books is just a lovely thing. And that will do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this look at all of my slow seasonal reads that I have planned for 2026, that I'm really in the midst of all of them at the moment and enjoying them all very much. And it's just lovely to have books where if I have just a few moments to sit down with a cup of tea, I can pick up one of these books and enjoy it and have a quiet little moment and some seasonal reading. What could be better than that? I would love to know if you have any books that you are slow reading. Do you do any slow reading throughout your reading year or in your life in general? And what kind of books are you drawn to do slow reading with? I definitely find myself much more drawn to nonfiction, to essays, to poetry. Those kinds of things to me just lend themselves to not necessarily sitting down with them and reading them cover to cover, but taking my time with them and enjoying them. And it's nice to have those books in my life along with those that are such page turners I just can't put them down and gobble them up within a very short period of time. So it's nice to have a little balance of both. But let us chat down in the comments about whether you're a slow reader or whether you just read books one at a time. Let us chat all things reading and our reading lives down in the comments below. And if you're here, but you don't have anything you'd like to add in the comments, but you want to let me know that you were here, because comments really do help my channel, why don't you leave a pink heart emoji to match my bright pink sweater that I have on today, or bright pink patterned sweater that I have on today. So a pink heart, or anything pink, really. Pink bow, pink, I don't know, what else is pink in those emojis? Find something pink and leave it in the comments. That would be fantastic. I really, really love seeing those. And if you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, and if you're on the YouTube mobile app, you can hit that hype box and give me some hype points. Those really do help small creators like myself to get more exposure on YouTube and help more people to find my videos, and I so appreciate that. And if you're new here and you haven't yet hit that subscribe button, I would love to have you do so and join my cozy bookish community. As always, I'll be back with another video very soon. And until then, I wish you a good book and a warm cuppa. Bye.